Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Barnes Noble. Obama Ndesandjo, our special guest this evening, is the half-brother of President Barack Obama. In his new book, An Obama's Journey, Mark offers another glimpse of their father, once married to Barack's mother and Mark's Jewish-American mother, Ruth, a Kenyan-born American pianist, writer, artist, and businessman. Mark uses his talents to work with orphans and is donating a portion of the profits of this book to promote art education among needy children around the globe. Please join me in welcoming Mark Obama Ndesandjo.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Great. I am so very honored to be here at Barnes Noble. This is the first time in the United States I've had a book signing, and I am overwhelmed by the interest, as well as the. Oops, I got to stay here, I guess. Okay, is that okay? Okay, great. My book is An Obama's Journey, my personal odyssey of self-discovery across three cultures. And the reason I wrote this book was to tell my story without having other people tell it for me. It's also about my family, a mini United Nations of sorts, but also a family that tries to make a difference in its own ways. And my story actually begins about 50 years ago when my father, Barack Obama Sr., went to Hawaii. And that's where he met Stanley Ann Dunham, the president's mother, and they fell in love and got married. Shortly after that, Barack was conceived, my brother Barack, my big brother Barack. And after that, they divorced, as you know, and Barack Obama Sr. went to Harvard to pursue his doctorate in economics. At that time, he met my mother in Boston, where she was teaching, and they fell in love. And love is a powerful thing, because in 1964, there were a lot of cross currents that were very difficult to maneuver and to deal with in terms of miscegenation and black and white and racial relations in the United States. Anyway, my father went back to Kenya later that year, and he invited my mother to follow and get married, which she did. She tells me, she remembers, Mark, when I decided to go to Kenya, my grandma said, "You can't go there, Ruthie, they're all black." And, but love is a powerful thing. And they went and they were married in December of that year. She had never been on a plane before, but she was a dreamer. I think there are dreamers all over, and they have tremendous force and power and vitality. Shortly after that, I was born. I was born in 1965. So my book starts with Kenya. I call it my personal odyssey of self-discovery across three cultures. And those three cultures are, for a mixed-race person with a bumpy road, Kenya, China, and America. So I will start with a couple of readings, and I'd welcome any comments or any questions that anybody has. Thank you. Oh, I can walk. I was just saying I can walk with this. This is not working, right? Can I use this?
That's for C-SPAN.
Okay, I'll use this one. Okay, thank you. Okay. Kenya, where it all began. Africa is a place of sublime contrasts and savage indifference. To view for the first time a lion hunting and killing, muscles rippling in the sun, To see it pick up the body of an onyx with just its teeth, and all beneath the great blue bowl of a sky that seems to stretch to infinity, is a humbling experience. How do I convey what it means to grow up amid such beauty and harshness? I can only share vignettes and memories that pass in and out of my consciousness, like sunlight through a diamond's facets. The years, days, and hours shift and blur like a mirage hovering over a burning hot road. Born in 1965, I lived in Kenya until I was 18. The scene of potent events that marked me for life also furnished me with the bricks from which I later built my spiritual house. Growing up there was both wonderful and terrible. Because I came from a mixed-race family, Africans denied me their brotherhood. To my face, children my own age called me epithets I hated: half-caste, chotara, and white among them. At one point, I had grown to believe half-caste was a term of the purest abuse, rather like son of a bitch or a-hole multiplied 1,000 times. Some people used it with a casual familiarity with which one might say rose or chair, but their insensitivity had the same effect on me as a white supremacist's invective. "You're a half-caste, aren't you?" a man would casually ask me. "Leave that chotara alone, I don't like him," my schoolmates would often say. I was a white Negro, or a black Mzungu, Caucasian in Swahili. I was black to all whites, yet white to all blacks, with no middle ground. Unable to bond with my black brothers, I quickly adopted the culture of my white mother and her more polite Caucasian brethren. Although there was a point when most would not let me befriend them, others allowed me to make social advances. For a long time, that was enough. Once stroked lightly, I put the pedal to the metal and zoomed ahead, alone and self-reliant. The next section, just to give some context, talks a little bit about Kenya, and we used to visit my father's homestead near Lake Kisumu. And it was a fascinating place. Let me share this here. Okay. Every now and again, now, who has been to Kenya? Has anyone been to Kenya? Yes, yes. Maybe there's some Kenyans in the audience. Are there any Kenyans in the audience? Yes, sir. Jambo bwani, habari gani? That means hello, how are you? Welcome. Kenya is an amazing place, and Africa is an amazing place. The sky, which curves above you, it's almost like a cathedral. And there's a sense there that you don't change Africa, Africa changes you. That said, when I was young, my mother, my father, and I, and my younger brother David, would drive to Alego Kogelo, which is about 400 miles from Nairobi, and was our traditional Obama homestead. This section starts there. Every now and again, we would visit Alego Kogelo. We would set off by car early in the morning, and after a day-long drive, arrive at our ancestral home. There was a time when the roads to Kisumu were too dangerous for many travelers to use, with a driver having every likelihood of smashing into a parked or broken down bus, of falling into a huge pothole, or of veering off an unsurfaced track. The police might ask for bribes, and robbers wouldn't bother asking. These days, the roads are considerably better, and tourists can cut across the fine Mara Road and bypass Kericho and Nakuru. Our car would pass by the Great Rift Valley and mystic Mount Longonot. I remember spotting by the side of the road, almost hidden behind thick bushes, the remains of the old chapel built by Italian POWs during the Second World War, which is now a refurbished tourist attraction. The land would turn richer and fields of sugarcane, wheat, sorghum, millet, pyrethrum, and sukuma wiki, or collard greens, would appear in shimmering waves of green and gold. Would see tea pickers and their children in the emerald fields of Kericho, where white colonial farmers once usurped the land from the Kikuyu and Kamba, develop an industry that produced the best tea in the world. I was about 5 or 6 years old then. My brother David was just a baby, and I do not think he came with us on these long trips, except for once when he got very sick with malaria. In general, someone would care for him back home, and my mother would count the days until she could hold him in her arms again. I never understood why we had to leave our home in Nairobi to travel to this poor set of thatched huts where people in cheap clothes and